So Jay, introduce our rock star new guest.
This is a very special treat for me because sitting in front of me is somebody that when I first got my real estate license, I looked up to, and he's really made his move through different variations from commercial to residential, and then obviously to just leadership. This is Duff Rubin here. He is the regional president of Coldwell Banker Realty of the Southeast. I mean, this is a big honor for him, and I'm really excited to learn and hear a little bit more because, you know, obviously over the years we stayed in touch, and I've got to watch you just keep going and going and going, which is amazing.
First of all, thank you for having me. And
yeah.
Jay, that was such a warm welcome, but I will say I remember meeting you and when you were first starting out and you were on a team, and I watched you not only blossom, but grow into your own leader and become your own team leader. And
thank you.
It's been great to watch your career. So it's great to be with you today, but more importantly, congratulations on all your success.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. So I want to deviate from the plan a little bit because, you know, I know Duff personally as well too, and you know, I just want to send us a congratulations. I recently saw that you are no longer on the market, my friend.
It's funny you say that.
Oh my God!
I tell people. I recently got engaged, and my fiance Fallon Fitzgerald de Grave is a lovely, lovely person. But more importantly, I told everybody I got more congratulations on getting engaged than I did on getting promoted in real estate. So I said I should have done this 55 years ago.
Oh man,
I waited a long time.
And you did wait.
I don't know if it's gonna make you the same money though, but
you know what? He's making me a better person.
There it is. There it is. The secret.
The agents tell me I'm more relatable now that I'm part of one of them, because most of my agents are mostly living a life of family and with their partners. And this makes me a lot more relatable. They say now you need to learn how to balance your work-life balance like we do,
man.
like agents do every day.
Yeah. And that's a good theme for us here. It's like work-life balance. I think we can
100%.
explore a little bit more this because I see a lot of realtors really not having a good balance in their lives. What do you think?
Careful if you had a little one, because mine's about to turn 4. And the balance goes one way when they're 4. You got to take them to school and then come to the event. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're right. The work-life balance is something that's funny because the CEO of Anywhere, our parent company, I was talking to him yesterday, and he congratulated me, and he said, I hope you're going to take more time for yourself now. And I said, I'm still a worker at heart. And I also want the agents to always respect that the people that they work with and for are living the same lives that they are. Our agents work 24/7. They work 7 days a week. They work weekends. And I want to make sure that they realize we're always available. So my fiance knows what she signed up for, and I'm an agent at heart, and I will always be available for our agents.
So you are happy with the new challenges, right? They're having in front of you.
I am. You know what? From the work perspective, they just gave me the whole eastern coast of not only Florida, but I have Georgia, the Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, where I was the president for 3 years. I'm going back. DC, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia. It's great because real estate is really not only a national industry, but it's also global. But a lot of our agents are moving from the north to the south.
Right.
So we talk about consumers moving to Florida, but a lot of agents are moving to Florida. So it's great for me to have a relationship with agents now, not only in Georgia and the Carolinas, but in the Mid-Atlantic states. I am now sort of helping them transition their careers and maybe getting duly licensed in Florida from other parts of the country.
Well, you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder because that's what I kind of wanted to touch on, which was, you know, you go from understanding how to coach and mentor agents here in Florida, and I sometimes feel like we're in a little bit of a bubble, but now you absorb having some extra states that might be faced with different challenges than we face down here. How do you adapt to stuff like that with a conversation with an agent up north versus an agent here in Florida?
So that's a great question because one of the things I always talk about in Florida is, you know, good or bad, we've dealt with a lot of seasonal buyers, and a lot of these people. I remember when I first started, someone asked me, so Duff, how are the first-time home buyers in Florida? And I said, well, we really focus on the last-time home buyers because most people move here to retire.
Right.
And we're not really dealing with a lot of primary residents. Now we do. And after COVID, a lot more people made Florida primary residence. But what my point was when I started dealing with the Mid-Atlantic and other states, they don't have seasonal buyers. They don't have second home buyers. They're dealing with families and homes every day who buy usually after the school season because it's all about the kids and the family. So it is a different mentality when you're dealing with someone who might not need to buy the second home or third home or who's only spending 6 months a year here. But I will tell you, There's a lot of great agents in Florida who have learned how to deal not only with remote buyers, because they have to do a lot of communication. They also do it in different languages, which is I love, because I grew up in Canada. And one thing I love about Florida is the international flavor, and how my dad lives in Colombia, and I love the migration of people not only from other parts of the country, but from other South America, Europe, Canada. And
What do you think is the difference? Sorry,
No, I just want to say, so you're enjoying my great state. Are you born and raised here or no, Jay?
No.
So I'm the only original here, so y'all are enjoying my 305.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
I wouldn't
Thanks
be
for your
anywhere else.
hospitality.
Born and raised in Miami. I'm glad I can be hospitable to everybody in here. But
That's cool.
We always appreciate everybody coming in because that's what I think what he said is that's what makes Florida, and especially Miami and this area, so unique.
So, Fredo, for both of you, what do you think is a differential for someone that works in Florida due to this migration? It's like a multicultural mindset and access to capital, right? Because I think a lot of money that is invested here in real estate comes from abroad, from other countries. Like, so how do you think it's a differential for that?
I love to hear from Duff because I do think that what he just said is one of the reasons why you have to know all these cultures and all these pieces. You have different languages, different ways that people speak, different ways that people interact. So, I'd love to hear that perspective.
I'm fortunate enough to have been one of those people like Jay who moved here. I moved here in 98, got my license in 98, but I came from Canada. And the difference, what I've seen, when I moved here, it was all about the weather and the taxes. Okay. And people talked about Florida being great climate, great taxes. What I've seen in the last 10 years, and even COVID pushing that, even with people coming here, we were just talking on stage, the 5-star hotels, the Michelin star restaurants, the boat show in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Art Basel. People used to come here for Mickey Mouse. Now people come here for culture. They come here for so much more than taxes and weather. And that's why they're making it primary residence. I mean, it's 725 people a day move to Florida. It's not just for the weather and taxes, because that we've always had. When I see the California people moving here, it's also because of some of them like the politics. Some of them like the fact that this is a safe state to live in. And I will tell you, I do think Florida, the education system has gotten so much better. I see UCF, I see Florida, I see Florida State, Miami. A lot of the universities have grown, and that's just helping attract more people.
Don't forget my alma mater, FIU, as a local. So I know all the big stuff. No, but I think everything you said, I've heard you here at Rock the Market for many years, and I think that's one of the things you just said that makes Florida unique. But people are now realizing the secret is not just the weather and the taxes. It's the culture, and also we're now getting the quality and, like you said, the Michelin restaurants. It's not just about boating and art and weather. It's now becoming about where do you raise your kids. And as one now, like I said, with a 4-year-old, you start looking at the schools. I was like, I didn't realize, it's a 2-year wait now.
Well, and then you can't forget Ken, you look at Ken Griffin, who brought Citadel, and you look at some of the financial leaders of the world, Orlando Bravo, and some of these guys who are bringing their hedge funds and their private equity firms from California, from Chicago, from New York, to Miami.
Even tech companies right now is coming down, right? So that's very interesting. I think I would say that Florida is becoming the California of the old times, the beautiful California that have a lot of money incoming.
Well, what's interesting is that people thought Bitcoin, when it started correcting and slowed down, I don't want to say it's a bubble, because I do think Bitcoin has a future, but people thought that was going to hurt Miami, because Miami had become such a center for Bitcoin. But you've seen how resilient Miami is.
100%.
It's now just become more financial and less about crypto.
No,
I love that. That was great. Crypto, as a fellow crypto lover, and I do agree that it's the technology. You're seeing that. And I think Suarez, with that campaign of how can I help, that brought people's eyes to we're a lot more innovative. I think what Duff is saying is spot on. We're a lot more innovative than people thought. We're just a hidden secret, and now it's no longer a secret.
Now, you mentioned something before, because we're all talking about our multicultural backgrounds, aside from myself. But, a Canadian here. And so, as we know, like when I got my real estate license 10 years ago, the Canadian buyers were probably our biggest, our biggest pool of buyers that were coming down from an international standpoint, really. What's going on with the Canadian market? Because I know you've got some love for home as well too. So
I have a lot of love. My mom still lives there. She's a snowbird. The weather is always going to be a factor to why people come here. And the better the Florida Panthers do, the more that attracts.
I love it.
My buddy's actually the assistant coach, and I always say you need to have a good year because it attracts more Canadian buyers. But the truth is, it's a lot dependent on the currency. Like South America, when the currency is not in a strong place, Canadians get scared off from being here, and maybe they rent instead of buy. They have gotten stricter in terms of counting the days. Healthcare. So COVID really hurt us with the Canadian buyers because COVID was much stricter. My fiance is actually from Australia, where they are also very strict on COVID. But it made it much tougher for certain countries from Europe and Canada to spend time here because they couldn't get health insurance.
Wow.
I think we've seen in the last year that's loosened up.
Right.
So I think you'll see more Canadians come back.
That's good.
But there were a lot of Canadians who sold
Yes.
because they couldn't be here during COVID.
Correct.
Or even a year or two after.
Yeah, that's great insight.
Okay, guys.
Great insight. Great
so
insight.
we are finalizing with Duff.
Duff. That was great. That was great.
We're
That's
going to
great.
invite you to come back again for
Please.
a deep 1 hour with us, okay?
Thank you.
To share all this knowledge. And then, thank you very much.